Does this film sink or swim? Let's find out. Hello Fanatics, I'm Dylan Phillips and this is the Film Fanatic Review bringing you Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, and Patrick Wilson. First we'll tell you what the movie is about and our initial thoughts. Then we'll move on to our spoiler-free likes and dislikes. We'll finish up with some spoiler-heavy thoughts on this film and our final word. Aquaman follows the story of Arthur Curry, who learns that he is the heir to the underwater kingdom of Atlantis, but must step up and contest his half-brother's claim to lead his people and be a hero to the world. Overall, this was a great addition to the DCEU that proves that adding a little more lightheartedness to a comic book movie goes a long way. For what I liked about this film, let's start off with the best part, the world building. The amount of detail put into the vast underwater world of Aquaman creates an entirely different universe for us to explore. It's one of the most layered superhero worlds that we've been introduced to, and I'd say that it rivals the universes of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. This is accented by some phenomenal visuals and stunning cinematography that not only accent the beauty, but curiosity of this world. And this, of course, attributes to James Wan's direction, who shows us that he can take both emotion and action and blend them together on a fun, watery ride. His direction does not stop there, as this film has some of the best action sequences in the DCEU, giving us some very stylized, fist-pumping fight scenes. The story, while familiar, does have its own strengths. It has elements of an emotional family story. A character struggles with lawful actions versus moral actions, and an adventure heist, all wrapped into one, making it quite the layered story for a superhero film. And of course, this is elevated by the performances of the cast. Everyone does great in their roles, but the standouts to me were Patrick Wilson, Temuera Morrison, and Jason Momoa. Wilson is a somewhat empathetic villain and proves to be one of the better villains in the DCEU, as his character's actions are lawfully right, but not necessarily morally right, giving us a lot of personal conflict for this villain. Morrison is great as the everyman in this film, as he waits for his underwater queen while also being a strong father figure for Arthur Curry, but this is definitely Momoa's film. He absolutely crushes it as Aquaman, giving us a very entertaining, surprisingly funny, and charismatic character that may cause a few people to change their opinions on who their favorite superhero is. However, while the story is fun, it is filled with a lot of cheesy moments, in particular a lot of dialogue. And while this stuff can be seen as passable because of the outlandish nature of this story, it can cause it to be a bit eye-rolly at times. And there are a few tonal issues throughout this film, as it switches between subplots and doesn't really kind of connect between the two, and I'll explain this more in the spoiler section. And that's where I'll end our spoiler-free thoughts on this film. If you want to hear a final word or rating of this film, pause now and click the link in the description, because now it's time for spoilers. So what I meant by there being a tonal issue in this film is that there seems to be a disconnect between the two stories that are going on within it. First, there's the reclaiming of the throne from King Orm, and then there's that revenge story of Black Manta. While these two technically overlap, they didn't have to. Black Manta's story does little for the film, and while he is a good Aquaman villain, a more detailed focus on him in the sequel would have worked better and allowed for more time to focus on the Curry-Orm conflict. This would have allowed the first film to focus on taking his birthright, while the sequel could have been a revenge tale about protecting Atlantis and proving once again why Arthur is the king. And the best scenes to me were Atlantis fight, Mira's fight, the gladiator pit, retrieving the Titan, and the Battle of the Brine. So, with the thoughts heard, here's our final word. Aquaman is an entertaining and visually stunning superhero adventure that helps the DCEU swim for another day. While the script is cheesy and has some tonal issues, the lighthearted tone is complemented by a layered story, beautiful cinematography, stunning world building, charismatic performances, and amazing action sequences, making it hard to resist this trip to the lost world of Atlantis. This film builds on the success of Wonder Woman to show that the DCEU doesn't have to live in a very grim world, so I'm gonna give Aquaman an 8.5. Thanks everyone for watching our review. Are you planning on seeing Aquaman? Or if you've already seen it, do you have something to add? What did you think of the story? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Dylan Phillips and this has been the Film Fanatic Review. If you like this video and you want to see more, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. check out our latest year in review video, where we look at our top 5 anticipated TV shows of 2019. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. And until next time, Fanatics, keep it real.